What's good with y'all, man? Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a good week and hopefully you guys are having a good start to your week. So, you already know we got to get back on the grind with the videos, man. So, we actually have an article here that says new Superman actor David Corenswet defends Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's darker Man of Steel. Which, Man of Steel is not dark. It's just realistic. Let's just be honest. Man of Steel is not a dark movie. People just can't accept the fact that it's a realistic approach to what would happen if real life gods were on the planet Earth. But let's see what the article's talking about. David Corenswet opens up about his view on Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's version of Superman as he gets ready to play the Man of Steel in the DC universe. 2025 marks one of the biggest years in history for Superman's media legacy, as a Man of Tomorrow is finally set to headline his own movie again this summer as part of the DCU timeline. The last cinematic iteration the world had of Superman was Cavill's incarnation in the DCEU movie timeline, which began with Snyders' Man of Steel in 2013. Cavill's Superman has frequently been described as one of the darkest takes on the character, with this often being a divisive topic when it comes to the DC icon. See, I don't like it when people use it's one of the darkest takes. It's not dark, man. You have to think. You remember the line in Age of Ultron where Vision was talking and he said and he's like, dang, I can't remember the line, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He says one of the coldest lines in the superhero genre about when people have power, it brings certain things. I have to look it up. I'll look it up after this. But let's finish this article. In a new interview with GQ, Corenswet was addressed his old comments from a previous Entertainment Weekly interview in November 2019, where he had spoken about the grittier iteration that Cavill portrayed in Snyder's franchise. With GQ, Corenswet elaborated on what he meant as he shared the following about Cavill and Snyder's Superman. Alright, this is what David said. David Corenswet said, I think that's the least interesting thing I could have said, simply because with a great character like Superman, you want great artists and writers and actors to explore all of the possibilities of them. The one way they become boring is if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so just like Chris Nolan took Batman and did something darker and more grounded with the character, Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill explored a side of Superman that hadn't been explored on the big screen. So all I was saying was they're doing it so well. Whenever they are finished, I love to see the next one go the other way, and let's see the other side in the same way. After Chris Nolan's Batman films and after Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson, there are a lot of people who are like, where's our funny, campy, fantastical Batman ? Exactly, bro. Batman's never funny. He's never campy. He's never fantastical. So, Corenswet previously stated, I would love to see somebody do an upbeat throwback take on Superman. I love Henry Cavill's dark and gritty take, but I would love to see the next one be very bright and optimistic. Which is so crazy, because if you watch Justice League, remember when Superman, he came back from the dead and he's fighting Steppenwolf and he's smiling, he has that joy on his face. Even when Steppenwolf throws his hand at him like this, and you see his face going slow motion and he's dodging it, we were getting to that optimistic Superman. But see, like Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder said, in order for the character to get to that point, he has to go through a journey. And they were taking us on a journey. We were getting there. But people don't got IQs to understand that. And they don't have an attention span. Their attention span is very, very low. Let's see where we leave off at. Nearly 4 years after that interview was conducted, Corenswet was revealed to be the DCU's Superman on June 27, 2023. Alright, so that's pretty much the article about what David said. Now let me look up this Vision line, because it's one of the most hardest lines that has ever been said in the superhero genre. Alright, so I finally found the quote. So what Vision said in Captain America Civil War, one of the hardest lines. Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. And conflict breeds catastrophe. Oversight. Oversight is not an idea that can be dismissed out of hand. One of the hardest lines Vision said in the whole MCU. Now, my point with that saying is, when people say that, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's tone is much darker, grittier, whatever. No, it's not. It's just a more realistic take. It's a more realistic take, as if real guys were on this earth. If real guys were on this earth and battle broke out, things are gonna get destructed. People are gonna pass away, sadly. But that's just how it's gonna happen. So that's why when he says challenge incites conflict, and conflict breeds catastrophe. Well, there was conflict with Zod because he wanted to build Krypton on Earth. And then that conflict turned into catastrophe because Superman wasn't going to allow him to kill the planet and the humans on the planet just so Zod could recreate Krypton. So when people use this line about Zack's universe being dark and grittier, it's just BS, man. It's just a realistic take, and people can't... They don't accept realism. And at the end of the day, we were getting to that little optimistic, smiley Superman that everybody knew. There was glances of him if you actually paid attention to Zack Snyder's Justice League. There was glances of him. Even when he walked up to Alfred, when Alfred was in the Batcave and he was looking for Superman or Batman, and Alfred said, he said you'd come. And you just look at his facial expressions. We were getting to that Superman. But like I said, man, IQ and attention span is not there for these people that complain about these type of movies. So, I'm not surprised David actually defended, Zack's universe. I think David's a good guy in general if you watch his interviews. He even had that interview with James Gunn where he challenged James Gunn on set about a certain scene in the movie. Because he comes from, I believe, screenplays or something like that. So he's very good when it comes to like pinpointing certain areas on if that area is being hypocritical to another area. So I think he's really good with that stuff. So I'm not surprised, man. I think David's a good guy outside of Superman. I've seen some of his other movies and some interviews, and he's pretty solid dude. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, man, that's my take on this. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about David Corenswet defending Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's Superman? This came out about a month ago. Wait, no, yeah. No, it came out 2 months ago. Surprised I'm just not seeing this. But yeah, man, post your comments. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. 100,000 subscribers is grind time. Let's go.